want to welcome Ahmed, and
Thank you.
also just to give you an update, we have been doing Quran interpretation. We finished ayah 182 from chapter 2, and every week we take a few ayahs, explain them, and move on for every week. Unless we have an issue that the group wants to discuss it, we can discuss it. If you want to pick a copy of the Quran, there are English copies here that you can follow with. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get one.
Yeah. Today we're going to have about, unfortunately,
We are able to find the iPad to hook it up here so everybody can
yeah,
use it.
I hope we can find something that I can hook here, because in case you are late, I can speak to it, it can time.
Oh. Interesting.
This hooks with a special connection, like any Samsung
Can I see
phone.
it? Can I check it out?
It's a Samsung phone, Samsung connection. And then it goes with a USB.
No, we don't have Samsung.
Let us go with today's assignment. Not now, but in the future, later on. Not now, but later on.
Okay, okay.
So I can bring my connection. Just think, I need a connection between my connection and this, which is a USB connection.
Yeah, we have it.
Okay. Okay, now with ayah number 183, surah number 2, which happens to be speaking about fasting.
She said, which surah? I was like, where have you been? She said, which surah? I was like, where have you been?
Surah
Surah
2.
2, where she's like, oh, okay. And she's
Yeah.
like, I missed a few things. I wasn't sure.
Remember, we took time to talk about fasting and the rules of fasting. So we left the Quran for a couple of weeks. So we're going back to our norm. Ayah number 183. O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you as it has been for people before you, so that you may develop piety and righteousness. In this verse, Allah addresses the believers, saying, you the believers have to fast, and fasting has been made mandatory upon you as it has been upon those before you. And that refers to our Jewish and Christian brothers and sisters who have fasting also as part of their faith. But definitely their fasting doesn't have the details we have in our fasting. It's a different restriction, different rules, but nevertheless it is fasting. Okay? We explained all the rules of fasting when we went over the guidelines for fasting. So we will not go over them again. But here, the purpose of fasting is listed here as to attain piety, righteousness, to be observant of God, to be alert, and to be conscientious of the presence of God in your life. fasting is a very private and personal type of worship between you and Allah, and as such, when you observe it, nobody could tell whether you are fasting or not except Allah, which means it's a very special relationship. Somebody could pretend that they are fasting and they go ahead and eat privately or drink privately. Nobody could tell. So to observe and monitor yourself on your own for a long day is indeed a source of help to develop this very personal observance of God and self-monitoring. Okay? What is the relationship between fasting and piety? Fasting is abstaining from what is prohibited during fasting, from food, drink, and sexual activities, but also morally from anything that is hurtful to others, anything that is bad for you, anything that is foul or inappropriate. So if you live 30 days guiding yourself by those principles, you certainly develop more abilities for self-control and self-restraint. So much so that the Prophet says, if somebody attacks you, I mean by verbal attack, then you should say, I am fasting, and do not answer his attack with yours. That is a high degree of self-restraint. It's a high degree of self-restraint. If you live like this, monitoring what you say, observing what you give your eyes to, monitoring what you give your ears to, monitoring where you go, whom do you associate with, and what you absorb from your environment, and what you give back to your environment. That is taqwa, T-A-Q-W-A, which is righteousness. So the ultimate purpose of fasting is to develop taqwa. Ayah number 184, أياما معدودات, numbered days, which are the days of the month of Ramadan. He amongst you who is sick or on travel should make up the missed days on other days. Meaning, if you are traveling or if you are sick during Ramadan, you can break your fast and make up the missed day later on. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ, as far as those who could do it with extreme difficulty, then they should pay a ransom by feeding a poor person.
What do you mean? Person that couldn't do it?
The person who is like too old to fast. He can fast, but it will be very difficult. Or a person who is terminally ill. Or a person who is working in hard jobs, like jobs that require extreme attention, like flying a plane, driving a train, or driving a truck. And those are exhausting type of careers. Or even person who works in a heated bakery or a mine. So those kinds of extreme, demanding, exhausting type of jobs, they have the license to break the fast, and when they take days off, they can fast and make up the fast if they can. But then, if they can't, because they work 7 days a week, like many poor communities do, they don't have weekends like us, then they can break the fast and feed a poor person one meal for each day that they break the fast. We explained also the rules about feeding the person, that it must be from an average meal value that you feed your own. Then it says, he who volunteers to do more or feed more, this is good for him. And to fast is indeed better for you if you can. So the Quran is saying, if you are, let us say, getting old, or you are old, then, and your body is a bit frail, but not much frail to stop you from fasting, then the Quran is saying, if you could fast, fast, but don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. But fasting is always better for you if you know. Ayah 185 talks about the choosing of Ramadan as a month of fasting. So it says, the month of Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was sent down as guidance to mankind and clarification of guidance and a criterion. So Ramadan is defined as the month of the Quran, the month in which the beginning of the revelation of the Quran started. So as such, to honor this month, Allah designated this month as a month of fasting. The Quran was sent down as guidance to mankind. It is not sent to Muslims or to Arabs or to Asians. It is sent from God, the Lord of the worlds, to all of the people everywhere. It's sent as guidance, but also as a criterion. Whatever issue you need guidance on, you will find this guidance in the Quran. So the Quran is not a limited book, like some people think that the Quran guides us only regarding our relationship with God, but it goes beyond. It goes also to our relationship with people around us, families, institutions, other religious communities, neighbors. The Quran is a comprehensive guide. There is not an issue that I have come across in my entire life that concerns or worries a human being that the Quran did not talk about, either directly or indirectly, either specifically or in general. So this is really God talking to His creation, telling them, that is what I expect of you, and this is in turn what you expect of me. So it is a bond and a contract between us and God. In the same ayah, the Quran continues, so he who witnesses the month, let him fast it. Which means he who lives to witness the beginning of the month, he should fast the whole month. As far as he who may be sick or on travel, then let him count the missed days and make them up other days after Ramadan. Ayah 185 continues, Allah wants ease for you. He doesn't want difficulty or hardship, so that you may complete the days of Ramadan, meaning fasting, and so that you may glorify Allah for the guidance He has given you, so that you may be grateful. Ramadan is a blessing, the Quran is a blessing, fasting is a blessing, connecting with Allah is a blessing. So when you're done with fasting Ramadan, as you may witness in the Eid, which is a feast day, the first day of Shawwal, a month that follows Ramadan, we all glorify Allah. Glorifying Allah is to praise Him and to recognize His majesty and to recognize the bounties He has bestowed upon us, both in creating us and in creating us the way we are. Allah could have made us all look alike, speak alike, do everything alike, which turns it into a very boring life. But Allah made us different, both to show the qualities of His varieties of creation, but also to get us to benefit from those variations and differences and varieties. Because if you grow up in a culture, you learn things that are beneficial to other cultures. So as Muslims, we should always celebrate the differences, including the differences of people's belief and people's faith and people's practice. In a way, Allah could have created all of us in submission, but He did this with the angels. As far as we humans are concerned, He chose in His divine wisdom and knowledge to give us the free will, so that when we worship Him, we are doing it on our own volition. Angels, they worship God, but they have no other means. They cannot disobey God. They execute His will as is. They don't have free will. So between angels who are pure and devils who are impure and very rebellious, God wanted us to be humans, to try to aspire to be pure, but never try to be an angel. Never divorce yourself from your humanity. Never divorce your desires. Never forget even your desires, the Quran says. But do not satisfy your desires in a way that is contrary to what is lawful, what is decent, what is godly. So, talking about those desires, Ramadan becomes very relevant, because in Ramadan we abstain from lawful desires, right? Food, drink, sexual activity, of course with our spouses. These are lawful things to enjoy. But when you on your own choose to give up those desires in Ramadan, in the day of Ramadan, you develop more self-restraint to do something which is basic and required, which is to always leave out anything that may be pleasing to you, but it may be a desire wrong-headed. I hope I'm not confusing anybody.
Yeah, it's okay. We're good. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I was saying that in Ramadan, fasting prohibits us from satisfying basic lawful desires, like food, drink, and other things. Right? So when I am able to restrain myself from something lawful, I should be able to restrain myself from doing something that is unlawful. That's the point. So, and it says that at the end of Ramadan, as you glorify Allah, you also should be grateful to Allah for the bounties He has given you and the ways of guidance that He has guided you. If we were to be left without His guidance, humans could turn either like devils or like animals, which is not how we should be. And as I said before, neither are we expected to be angelic, divorcing ourselves from our desires. That's not practical. So Islam gives the Muslim the proper balance between enjoying everything there is to enjoy in life and at the same time not falling to become a follower of the devil and to stay as a follower of God. I will stop here, and inshallah next week hopefully we can get the USB connection to the TV and see if we can work on this, inshallah. Okay?
Sick or ill for a week or 2 weeks.
Yes,
Do you still make up those days that you missed during another month?
that is true.
Okay, that's all. All right.
Okay.
Just a long sickness. I wasn't sure if you were supposed to make all days. But
Yes. You make them before the following Ramadan. So you can make 1 day a week or 1 day every 2 weeks.
Okay. Anytime in the year.
Yeah.
Before the next Ramadan.
Of course, it's better to do them as soon as you can, because they become like, a debt, so to speak.
Okay, that's all.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry to rush, but I really have to go.
No, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.